All right, good morning. So I believe this is the end of week 3, maybe week 4. No, is it week 4? I think this is actually week 4. So 4 weekends. This is where we're at. Worked on this yesterday for probably about 5 hours, give or take. And just going to do a little update on where we are at in the stage of the build. So last video I called it the sleigh phase, and we're still sort of in the sleigh phase because it still kind of looks like a sleigh. But as soon as we start putting A-pillar and roof bar, back roof bar, the X, and start putting a front end on here, it's really going to start looking more like a car. Still kind of looks like a glorified erector set right now, but yeah, this is where we're at. We've got door bar tacked in. I call this the A-pillar post or A-pillar support. B-pillar post, B-pillar support. Well, actually we'll just call it B-post, A-post, because we're going to have an A-pillar support up here. Got our door braces in. Here. And like I probably mentioned in the last video, everything from here up is all 120 wall, 1 3/4 DOM. 1.5 sleeves in there. I already got my rosette welds done for the sleeves. Big deal here. I don't see these on a lot of cars, but I put this lower W brace in. So traditionally you'll see cars that have an X brace. So these two tubes right here are your lower X brace, and then as we go up to the roof, they'll continue up this way and up that way, and that makes your X brace. But what I don't see in a lot of cars is this lower W. And that just adds more bracing and rigidity to the chassis for sort of for side impact or rollovers, what have you. Some people, I've also heard guys call this a flying W. I think they're a lot more common on, now I see them a lot more on desert stuff, but I don't see them so much on Ultra 4 type cars. So this is something I just put in there on every chassis. It just gives me peace of mind. More bracing, more welding, more weld surface, more safer. So that's something I put standard on all the cars, or all the chassis anyway. So yeah, this is where we're at. I'm really happy with the progress so far, having only been able to get in here on weekends. And anyway, I heard mention there was a couple guys asking me how I changed this design here since I built the last chassis. If you guys follow Kevin Ultra 4 Jones, he ended up having to change these tubes to get more bump because he's decided to run a high pinion 9-inch. And yes, I have. So we're going to go over and talk about the design aspects, the technical aspects of these changes, and some of the other changes I built since I built Stryker 3. Some of the other changes I did since I built Stryker 3, some of the changes I did to the design of the chassis. We're going to get on the computer. I'll be doing some voiceover, and we'll get on the CAD model, and I'll show you some of the differences and changes from this one, which is Stryker 4, to the previous version, which is Stryker 3. So we'll go ahead and go over there and we'll get to that right now.
All right, let's get into it. So here we go. What you see here is Stryker 3, which is Kevin Jones' chassis I built for him last year, and Stryker 4, which is the current chassis and design that I'm working on right now in the shop. Stryker 3 is the red chassis. Stryker 4, blue chassis. So the very first change, if you follow Kevin Jones, we'll just go ahead and zero in on this. One of the things he encountered was we had originally built the Stryker 3 chassis for a high pinion Dana 60. He was going to run a high pinion Dana 60 front axle from his old race car. I think he had a Dynatrac axle. And when we designed that, when we originally got together and designed this front end of the new chassis, we designed it for clearance based on that high pinion Dana 60. And we'll go into a little bit of detail on the differences between the high pinion Dana 60 and what he's currently going to be running. And most race car drivers are running the high 9. So the big difference here is the change in what I call this S-bend here. This S-bend needed to be bent upward at a more severe angle than the old design. We'll turn the current design or Stryker 4 off so you can see the old design. So here's the old design. This is the original design for Stryker 3 that I had designed to work with a high pinion Dana 60. So update and fast forward to Stryker 4, where I made the necessary changes in the design to clear the upper links to give area or clearance for more elevation in the upper links, which means more elevation in the upper links means more elevation and clearance for a drive shaft, because the high 9 is so much higher in that drive shaft input position on the pinion than the Dana 60, the high pinion Dana 60. These changes were necessary, and got some measurements off of Kevin's high pinion and then did some 3D modeling. And so this S-bend in here comes up quite a bit higher because you're going to have a upper link that travels through here. And it's got to be higher and mounted higher up on the axle to clear the drive shaft that comes up way in here at full bump. And that's where your clearance issues are always going to happen, full bump. Okay, so jumping over to the CAD design here real quick, you can see the differences here in the Dana 60 and the high pinion 9. I'm going to shut up the Dana 60. This is the high 9 carrier. We'll swing around here and you can look. So the high 9 carrier, so this area right in here is where your drive shaft input's going to be. And if we switch it back to this right hand view and go to turn on the Dana 60, you can see the Dana 60 input's quite a bit lower. The high pinion 9-inch is going to be up here, so I'm going to guess that's about 2 inches higher, and that's what's going to cause, or that's what caused clearance issues with these upper links and that upper drive shaft area. So just a quick reference on that, and in a 3D model here. So so that's that change. We'll turn this, flip this back around, and you might see there's a couple other things that I did differently in Stryker 4 versus Kevin's chassis, Stryker 3. One of the more notable changes is this roof line. I raised the roof line everywhere by 1 3/4 inches. I wanted to make this a little bit more universal for a taller guy. This roof line measurement is going to be crucial for head clearance, especially with a helmet on. The other thing that I did, and I didn't really want to do this with Kevin's, but we made some concessions, and Kevin just had to have this style change. And I won't do it again, and I'll show you why. I'm going to turn off Stryker 4 here. On Stryker 3, Kevin's door bar is straight. And this is a little bit of a detriment, and you might see this if you've been following his stories lately. with mounting his upper shock mount underneath the hood line. Because these tubes here are radiused, this front and back tube is radiused, this tube right here needs to start on a downhill slope. So that means that this area right here, where this door tube meets the front hood tube, needs to be pointing upward. And we'll turn on the Stryker 4 design so that you can kind of see that. So turn off Stryker 3, we no longer have a straight door bar. We need to have this dip and this bend in this door bar to have this front tube pointing upward. So what that does is it gives this tube here, this tube junction or this joint where this radius tube comes in for the hood line, it's already pointing upward. It goes upward and then dives back down. And what that does is give you more elevation or a higher hood line in this area where the upper shock mount is going to be, which equals or equates to a better chance of getting that upper shock mount underneath the hood line. So if we go back to turn on Stryker 3, you'll see this tube is, in this area it's a full width higher. In this area it's not quite a full width higher, and tube width 1 3/4. But these radius tubes are pretty hard to replicate in a CAD design or a CAD drawing, because we just don't know what the severity of this radius is going to be, because I do all this radiusing by hand. So, but I have a pretty good handle on how this is going to be done and how to replicate it from one chassis to the next. And that's part of being hand built. No two are the same or exactly the same, but I can get them pretty close. And I like that aspect about it. Hand built. So save time in the areas where tubes can be CNC cut and notched, but put time into areas where tubes are going to need to be hand built, handmade, and hand fitted. And that's what gives this chassis the character it does, is these radius tubes. So that's the second notable change. Other than that, everything is basically the same. I did pinch the roof line in a little bit, just to give it a little bit more of a sinister look. You're still going to have plenty of clearance. No, I just really like the evolution of the chassis and the way things are sort of shaping up here. Really looking forward to making some more progress on the new chassis and moving forward with this new Stryker 4 build. As always, if you like these videos, please support us by going to the tac1fab.com website and buying some swag. We've got the Tac1Fab hats, Tac1Fab hoodies, Tac1Fab t-shirts, and the new Tac1Fab cups with the Stryker design engraved on them. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching. See you next time.